Oh, there's a live countdown. Now I
All
can see it
right.
on the screen.
All right. And we're LinkedIn Live.
Oh, we're open.
We're there. All
All
right.
right.
So, Mara, who are you? And what do you do?
Hi, I'm Mara. I'm an associate coach at Apex North Coaching, and I work with Glen Dall.
And I'm Glen Dall. Look at that. All right. What are we talking about today, Mara?
We
Can't wait.
are talking about from doer to leader.
From
When does a
doer.
leader, when does a leader realize that what's the moment that a
Oh,
founder or an owner realizes that the company's outgrown the version of them that has built it?
ooh. Wow. That's a good question. What do you think?
Um, I think it's a bunch of things. I don't think it's one specific
Yeah. Yeah.
thing that gets them there.
There's
I
not like this moment that someone goes, oh my, flip the
No, it's like
switch.
all of a sudden
No.
everything is like too much, and they realize that they
Hmm.
need better systems in place, maybe some clearer ownership of who's doing what,
Yep.
and usually stronger leaders around them.
I, you
So
know,
they
go ahead. No, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I think of this as because people don't usually seek us out, right? It's not much like that unless they're experiencing a pain. And so this moment, which I don't see as a moment, but it's a realization in that from an owner entrepreneur who started a business, built it up and just kept building, kept growing, and all of a sudden, and then they got to a point of where, hey, we're really not growing anymore, but yet things are getting harder. Or, oh, I thought if once I achieved X in revenue, things would get easier. But they keep getting harder and harder and more frustrating. And and I think that's the moment they say, well, there's some thought of like, oh, I'm out over my skis. I really I'm a good builder, good remodeler, good whatever you name it, but I'm probably not the best CEO.
Yeah, and I think like I spoke to a CEO this morning who was just at our wits' end, right? Like they just don't know, they just don't know how to move forward, right?
Hmm.
And where they thought they knew everything, right? That so it's not that they're not great at what they do, but sometimes they've become the bottleneck and they finally realize that. I think that's a big piece of it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
They realize that they're the bottleneck and they just don't have any more bandwidth.
So, how many of these owner, founder, entrepreneurs do you think have that realization versus how many don't?
Well, of the ones we talk to, I'd say most of them do. But I
Yeah.
think that generally, like you said, they're waiting for that eruption to take place. Because what happens is that, they're really good at what they do and they're able to pick up the pieces, right? So they see
Yeah.
everything that's happening and they dive in and they fix it.
Yep.
And they've got a team that is doing some stuff and probably doing what they do really well. But every time that there is an issue, they're not real leaders and they're not training in new systems and they're not
Yeah.
growing the people. So they it
Yeah.
just gets to a part where, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. So, and when you say what they do really well, I think you mean as their job function,
That's
right?
exactly what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay, I just trying to here. Okay, so I once coached for a very large corporation. They brought me in to coach their basically their chief technology officer. And this is someone who very bright, very technically oriented, had got to the role because they were really technical
And really
and
smart.
really smart.
Yeah.
Their downfall as a leader was that they were like the answer person. And that was their power was that, oh, everybody has to come to me because I'm the only one that knows how this works. I'm the only one that can tell them how to do this. And that's those words right there. Whenever I start hearing a CEO, anyone say, well, I have to tell them what to do. I'm the only one that knows this. That starts telling me that they're still in the whatever our title
In the
is,
doer.
in the doer role. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because absolutely, right? So I agree with you 100%. And I think that, you know, what happens is that they're afraid that their team is going to fail
Hmm.
and they want to pick it up and they want to make sure everything is done exactly the way they would
What?
do it. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're going to say
Well,
something. I can see it in your face.
yeah. Why are they afraid their team's going to fail?
Because they
What's
haven't
missing?
let them try yet.
Okay. Why haven't they let them try it?
Because they think that they're the only ones that know how to do it. What you just
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And,
they.
I think it's a fear of, they've built whatever company it is, they've built it so far and
Hmm.
generally they've done a great job of seeing it. Like we don't see people until they're successful, we'll say, right?
Exactly right. Yep.
And
Yep. Yep.
so they're good at what they do. There's no question, and they've gotten them so far, right?
So they may be a good construction person, right? When you say,
They might be a good
yeah,
construction person. They might also
they-
be a fairly good leader for a small company, right? Like there are companies that
yeah.
are, you know,
Well, what's a good?
maybe, yeah, I guess I know they're able to run a
What's a
they're able to run a small company, right? They're able to run a small company. I'm going to
what's
say
a good?
based
What's a
on
take? Yeah, what's it take to run it's a small company versus a scaled company? What's the difference?
a leader has to create leaders in a larger company, whereas
Yeah.
in a small company, giving direction might get you far enough.
Yep. Yeah. And the words I would use is trust and empower. And I personally, my observation in the work that we do with the companies we work with is that it's the trust that's missing of letting someone, right?
Yeah, and that trust has to be really specified of trust in what we're talking about. Because
Yeah.
you're absolutely right,
Trust.
right? Like
Hmm.
we have to trust we have to trust our teams to take accountability
Hmm.
and run with it and come out with the outcome. But that goes back to other things that we've talked about. And if they don't know what the outcome that's expected, they can't necessarily get there. So it's both sides of it.
Yes. Yes. So it's, yeah, focusing on communicating the outcome and then trusting the
Them
leader,
to get there, trusting that you've
the how.
chosen and
Yeah.
trusting that you've chosen, like you have to remember that the leader has chosen the leaders that
Yeah.
they're working with. So
Yes.
trust that you've chosen the right person to
Yep.
carry this out. Trust
Yeah.
that they know how to do whatever they need to do, and we need to
Hmm.
just let them get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, I think it was Dan Martell, the author, I think the guy that wrote Buy Back Your Time. I think that was his, is 80% done by someone else is 100% freaking awesome.
Yeah,
But
absolutely, right?
yeah, but then that owner, leader, founder needs to let go of the 20% because it.
Or yes, or and not or and
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
train them, right? Help them see what
Yeah.
that extra 20% was
Yeah.
so that next
Hmm.
time they're at 100%.
Well, yeah. Here's what I would actually, I don't know, because that, I think so many times that the, let's say for example, I always did it this way, and then I'm, okay, hey, now it's time to hand it off to someone else. here's what can you do this? What do you need? What questions do you need? Like, great. Well, I think that there's also a difference in my mind of what 100% looks like versus 80%. And is that extra 20% really needed? I don't know. Or is it
I guess
something
I'm thinking about
that's
it in
in the
terms
effort?
of outcome, right?
Yeah.
So if we need
Uh,
the outcome should be agreed
well,
upon, right? And if we're only at 80% of
yes.
the agreed upon on
Yeah.
outcome, that's not okay. I mean, it's okay the first
Yeah.
time, but it's not okay going forward.
Yeah. 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 I think of examples, and I know I've fallen victim to this. I've been on both sides of this. And I was like, well, oh, let's look at the this power of this pitch, client pitch, and oh, that word we shouldn't use. This word should be changed to that word, and can you use a picture of this or change the font of this? Like sometimes it's minor stuff like that, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's
I
like
agree.
you know at the end of the and to me it's more it's like it got done because if versus spending the time to
Yeah,
right
I
and
wouldn't
it
have had the
yeah
time to get it done. Yeah, no, I
yeah
agree on stuff like that
yeah
100%.
that's where it
Yeah,
speaks to me and even that 20% is really more of a discussion of like oh you know what I guess we really don't need that it's not productive and that goes maybe that relates to the 80/20 rule right I'm like
yeah,
it, it's a diminishing return for that extra of what you're trying to get to and
yeah.
I know I see that in myself and things like time and time again it's like nope it's just better that gets done and I didn't have to do it. Great.
Exactly, exactly. What do you think some of the hardest things that leaders need to get let go of?
Whew. Wow. Well, I think it's the control. Are you saying like specific examples?
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be specific
Here's
examples. So what I'm thinking about is like if
yeah.
let's say there's a problem with a job role, right? Like somebody's doing something that they don't like. Are they is the owner responsible for dealing with everybody in the company, or is it
Oh,
the leader of the scorecard who should be dealing with that? Um, who makes the call?
yeah.
Does the leader still own everything?
Well, yeah, I'd say that the owner still does the head of the company. Ultimately, it does fall to them. Yet the let's say for example, it's operations. Okay, and for the owner to see someone you know doing something in operations maybe a couple levels down that they don't necessarily agree with or isn't the way they did it and I don't mean to talk about the outcome I'm just talking about the how
Hmm.
right and so what are you doing let me show you how to do this that is not right whatsoever it is that's and I think that's a really hard thing to let go of. And then really what they need doing is like, okay, well, I need to go to the head of ops and say, hey, I saw something. I just want to talk to you about it. Explain to me, is this what's going on? Is this oh yeah, well we changed that process, 6 months ago, and this one's way more efficient. Well, we never did it that way. I know we figured out that way was really inefficient, so we're doing it this way.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay, good. Thanks. Oh, so that's why our gross profit margin has increased by 2 points. Oh,
Yeah.
God. But I don't think, I think many owners are just go back to, well, I always did it this way. It worked for
And it
me.
worked for me.
Yeah. So just do what I tell you to do. It's like,
Yeah.
why don't,
Yeah.
oh, and I just think of some of the owners I'd worked with like that really, that thought they wanted to build scaled organizations, but they weren't able to get themselves to the point of like, I can let go. And I worked with the CEO. I think he had about 120 employees, and he had started himself like literally pickup trucks and some tools. Now I had 120 employees, and I had this conversation with him. It's like, look, you can talk to anybody in the company about culture, about vision, but you can't go tell them what they need to
What
do
to
or how
do.
to do it. Yeah. Below your senior leaders, like you can't go around them. And I remember drawing it. You can't go around. You can't go around. He's like, well, what? But what if someone somewhere, and they were doing work all over the state, And he's like, well, what if, doesn't it just, how do you, well, you know, and you could tell you got all kinds of agitated. I said, first of all, it's always going to happen. There's always going to be mistakes happening. It's a byproduct, but you minimize that, and you need to then go back up to your senior leaders. And if they're not holding their people accountable, then ultimately it's going to come back to you, because then you didn't hire the right senior leader, or you're not
Yeah.
holding them accountable, or you're not coaching them to be a good leader, so they're building out teams below them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
it's always, we
Well,
always have to
yeah.
make sure that it's, building out the teams, right? Building out the teams, building out the leaders, and
Yeah.
making sure that it's, we have the right people who are going to make the right
Yes.
decisions, and that the communication is enough so that they know what they're making decisions based on, right?
Yes.
We need to communicate all of that stuff out.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
it goes back to the trust. If they have the information they need, if they're the right leader in the right seat, they have the
Hmm.
right teams working for them, we have to
Yeah.
trust that they're going to get the work done in
Right.
a way that is appropriate for our company.
Right. Which absolutely agree. And people say, well, how do we know that? So, well, that's where your culture comes in. That's where your core values, your operating principles. If you lay out, if you have strong core values, people understand how they're lived. As leaders, you model and then live those themselves, then they can make decisions about how to do things based on those core values or those operating principles, those guidelines. Like, oh, okay, it's customer first. Well, then I always, what's best for the customer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
It's that.
how does a
Whew.
leader know when they're successfully transitioned from a doer to a leader?
My short answer
Yeah.
is when they can uh, go through a day and keep track of how many questions they ask versus how many statements they make or questions they answer. And if they ask 3 times as many questions as they make statements or answer questions, then I would say that they've evolved from a doer to a leader. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that as a metric for it. I was thinking more in terms of the the
Well,
feeling.
what were you thinking? Yeah, what were you thinking?
Well, I was just thinking that they'll they'll have that relaxed feeling, and they'll be able to go on vacation and
Oh
walk away from the
yes,
company and
yep,
truly take a week or two off and come back
yes,
and not be terrified that everything will have blown up while they were away.
yep. So this morning I met with
Hmm.
Bill Costello, who's the CEO of our client Streeter, who's a custom home builder among many things, expanding their. Um, he spoke at our workshop a couple weeks ago. We did a case study in his company, and he said, Glenn, I will stand up in front of any workshop you want to do to tell other CEOs that the key is having an all A player cohesive leadership team all day long. He said that is the key.
Yep. Yep.
It's and
And
in
it's
order
hard
to,
work to get there.
oh yeah.
It's not an easy
So
switch of the button, but it's once you
all
get
right.
there, it's all worth it.
Okay, so now here's a question.
Hmm?
Is it possible to coach, because right, many times we come into companies and they've gotten to this level of success to where they decide, hey, we want to scale. We can invest in professional coaching to scale, right? And so that implies they have a level of success, they have financial success, and they got there by operating in the founder owner model of kind of command and control, right? So can this organization, the founder and the leaders and the employees, can they be coached in general? Would you say, can they be coached into this new model?
Some yes and some no.
Some companies, yes, or some
Some
people?
people, some
Yeah.
people,
Okay.
right? It
Yeah.
really depends on so many things, right? Like if they want
Hmm.
to, it's work, right? There's work going into this. So
Oh,
if they
yeah.
want to change and they're
Yep.
willing to do the work to get there,
Yeah.
then yeah, usually.
Hmm.
If they're not interested in making any changes, then there's nothing we can do to help.
What? Okay. So you think if they want to, they can?
Usually, I said. It
Oh,
depends on
usually. Okay.
they can't
Yeah.
always. Some of them don't have the knowledge that they need. Some of them don't have the
Hmm.
background that they need. Some of them might need, much longer than they have right now to do it. So
Okay.
maybe if they
Yeah.
can't be on the leadership team now, they can be in 4 years when they've gone through
Yep.
different training or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
And then some of them are just a simple no. They're never going to get there. Maybe their core
Yeah.
values don't match. Um, Maybe they're just not interested. And yeah,
Hmm.
it's not 100% either way.
All right. So here's a loaded question. Do you
I
think that
love the loaded
leadership?
ones.
I know. Do you think that leadership can be taught, or is it an innate? Is there an innate ability? Can, can we?
No, I
Can
think
we?
leadership can be taught.
Oh, okay. So you're in the Jim Collins camp.
Yes. I do
Oh,
think that
his.
leadership can be taught, but I don't think that everybody will accept those teachings. So I don't
Okay.
think leadership
Yeah.
can be taught to everybody, but I do think that leadership can be taught. I have an
Oh,
example
yeah.
of
Okay. Go ahead.
there
Yeah,
is
I'd love to hear it.
a woman that I'm working with who's on a leadership team,
Hmm.
and she was on the leadership team before we started working with her,
Hmm.
but she wasn't really told what a leader was.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yep.
the difference that I've seen in her in the last 6 months,
Hmm.
I have zero doubt. Like she didn't start as a leader, but I have zero
Okay.
doubt in my mind that she will be one of the best leaders out there.
Okay. All
She
right.
just didn't even know what it meant to do that, right?
Ah.
She was so
Okay.
focused on her job. She
Yep.
was never even taken out and talked about what it meant to do it. But as
Hmm.
soon as she was, it was like a light bulb went off
Hmm.
and she switched her entire way of thinking.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Hmm.
So, oh, so what? So then my next question is, what does it mean to be a leader? Like, what was she? What was that
She
realization? What did
was
she
doing
see?
her job. She was doing her job, and she was doing her job great.
Hmm.
And and honestly, all it took was you need to stop thinking about being an accountant and start thinking about being a leader.
Okay.
And she's like, what does that even
Well,
mean? And I'm like, well,
yeah.
you need to work with your teams. You need to grow the teams under you. And she's now taken on an entirely different department that doesn't even have anything to do with accounting, right? Because she's running these teams. She's
Hmm.
teaching them how to be accountable for things.
Yeah.
She's letting them be accountable for things and helping them to understand what that
Okay.
looks like.
Okay. So you mentioned the word accountable.
Hmm.
How does a leader? How does a leader do that? What? Talk more about that.
A lot of it is that they just have to explain to them what they are accountable for, right? Like
Okay.
have a lot of times team members are just left to their own devices.
Hmm.
So scorecards help, right? Having weekly one-on-ones with the team
Hmm.
helps. Having reviews help, right? All
Hmm.
of those things that let the people know that you're there to help them
Yep.
and not just tell them what to do. So
Yeah. Okay.
have them understand what their role is, understand what the expectations of that role are,
Hmm.
and then allow them the space, and I know we hate that because it's an AI word, but allow them the space to come and ask the questions that they need to ask and get the
Yeah.
answers that they need
Okay.
to do their job well.
The answer's okay, which goes back to asking questions. Um, what is how do they hold them accountable? So if they're setting out expectations, which I agree is number one step, is because expectations equal is the same as the outcome, right?
Hmm.
Yep. Um, so the expectations, and the expectations isn't about, it's not a process document. Here's how you do it. Process documents are okay. We can have that. We definitely want to have that. We want to have our
For some
playbook.
things. For some things, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'd say for many things in a business,
Hmm.
but yeah. So then, if those expectations are set, if the person says yes, I'm willing, and yes, I'm able, and yet they don't do it, what's accountability?
Well, there has to be changes made if they're not going to do it. Like there
Okay.
has to be, yeah. Like if they
Hmm.
say yes, I can do it, yes, I'm able to do it, and then they just don't do it. I mean, we have to take some sort of human side of that. And was there a reason for that? Like
Hmm. Yep.
if they simply just didn't do it because they didn't,
Yeah.
then we have to find somebody who will.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you can give somebody the benefit of the doubt once, but after
Yeah.
that, you're just making things worse for yourself.
Right. Why are you making things worse for yourself? What's that mean?
Well, if you're letting them be unaccountable,
Hmm.
then that's on you, right? Like
Right.
if we don't hold our teams accountable for what they say they're going to do, then it's
Yeah.
our fault
Right.
for letting them get there, right? It's the same thing with just humanity, right? Like it's how you let people treat you is how they will
Hmm.
treat you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would submit that if you don't hold everyone fairly accountable, then you'll never have accountability. Um,
You'll
yeah.
exactly, you'll never have accountability, and it's not fair that
Mhm.
people that are holding themselves accountable,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
It
Oh yeah.
it makes them not want to do whatever they're doing because why should they bother?
Yes. And what if you're a leader that's saying, we need accountability? We're going to be accountable. Moving forward, accountability is going to be our key word. It's going to be our theme. Everybody is going to be accountable. And then they don't hold someone accountable. What's that?
Then it's just words.
Just words. It's just a sham. It's a lie.
Change doesn't occur.
It's just it's just BS. It's like just
Yeah.
lay low. This will
Yeah.
blow over. This will blow
Yeah.
over in a quarter or in a year. They'll move on to
Yeah.
something else,
Yeah, exactly.
which is
Exactly.
unfortunately all too common.
Yeah.
Consistency. All right, good. So what do
All
you
right.
think? So if there's, I don't even know if anybody's listening to this. It's a good, great conversation though. But what would be the first step? Let's just say if I'm that entrepreneur owner and I've reached this, I've kind of reached a step, probably of frustration. Like, wow, I just want to grow my company. I don't want to have to spend so much time in it. I don't want to have to do everything myself. What's a really good first step?
Scorecards. Scorecards are always a really good first step. Let's make sure that everybody understands what the expectations are
Yeah.
and make sure that those expectations make sense. Because sometimes if the scorecards aren't clear, we
Mm.
have people that are doing twice the amount of work, twice everything
But,
twice, crossing over, or people that are doing nothing.
but
So we need to
Mara,
make sure, yeah.
Mara, well, you don't understand. Why can't I just hire smart people and they can let them figure it out? They should be able to figure it out, shouldn't they?
No. Smart people are great. They need to know what the expectations are, just like anybody else.
Yeah.
We need to set
Yeah.
expectations and we need to set up what the company should look like. Like, what do we want the company to look like?
Yeah.
And scorecards help do that because
Yeah.
we understand what the expectations of the leaders are, and
Hmm.
then we go from there.
Yep. Yeah. It's never ceases to just like, okay, the smart people figure out like, well, okay, but maybe they think we're going to. play golf, and we really want to go skiing. You want to go skiing, like you're figuring out two whole different trips.
Exactly.
And yeah, we need the alignment, and it needs to be. That's why everything works together. But agree, scorecards are a great first step as it relates to accountability. I always go back to me, it's let's figure out where do you want to go to begin with. Like, let's at least get clear on where we're trying to go, and then step backward to say, well, then what needs to get done to get there? And we need to do that. Who are the people we need?
To do
What's
it.
the how? And then who are the right people? Who are the who's? Who are the right who's for that how?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but it's
Part of
sometimes you
that
can't
is,
even get there. Okay.
yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, I agree. I think
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking our North Star, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is super important. Um, Even figuring out the who to get there, though, is the scorecard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I so I lead a CEO roundtable, as you know, for allied executives here in Minneapolis, and yesterday we're kind of going through some things. And it's exactly this. It was for someone who had been a producer in their business, wanting to move up and start building out other competent producers in the business, take over their accounts as this person moved into a more leadership role. And I said, well, how about this? Take your scorecard and put it on your desk and do a time study of how much of what you're doing relates
Fits in there.
directly to your scorecard, how much it is not. And anytime, and then ask yourself when you start doing, okay, how can I not be doing this, and who is the right person to do this? But also then ask yourself, should I even be doing this? Let me go back to focus on this and focus on this and
Should
focus on this.
anybody be doing it?
Or should anybody do it? Yeah, maybe. And I'd say for many people in the leadership role, they're doing things that they're not the right person to be doing it,
100%.
which I think circles right back down, right? But if it is on someone else's scorecard, or maybe we don't even have a scorecard for that, like, and we need to create that. Oh, we need to hire for this role, which for many heads of companies would be, do you have an admin? Are you making your own appointments? Are you reading your own? Are you managing your own inbox? Don't. Those things should not be on your scorecard.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
if you insist on doing them,
Good.
they still shouldn't be on your scorecard.
Yeah. Well, then, and if you're still insist on doing it, you're not being accountable. So you're not leading by example. So again, the finger comes right back to, and it always
Yeah.
comes back to us. We're our own worst enemies.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Great
All right.
conversation.
Yeah.
Enjoyed
Good
it
to
as
see you.
always. Yeah. Good to see you. And I'll talk to you on our next LinkedIn Live, if not before. So
Perfect.
do we know when that is? Probably.
I don't know, but I think about 2 weeks, probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. Probably 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm sure we'll be promoting it on LinkedIn prior to the conversation. So, all right.
All
All right,
right.
Mary. Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
Glenn.
Take
Bye.
care. Okay. Bye.